you struggling on a piece of writing right now? It could be because your intuition is blocked. In this video, I'll show you how to tell if that's the problem and how to fix it. The writer's intuition is always right. What's difficult for us are two things. Number one, being able to hear what it's telling us, and number two, trusting it. Doesn't matter whether you're a plotter or a pantser, you likely use your intuition when you're writing. Maybe it helps you think of plots or characters or guides you through an outline. In today's hurried and noisy world, though, it can be hard to hear what your intuition is trying to tell you. There are a number of things that may be drowning out your intuition right now. We're all so busy these days. In the midst of all that, it's very difficult to gain that time and space that you need to really hear what your intuition is trying to tell you. You may have a vague sense that it's talking to you or whispering to you in the back of your mind, but you're not really focused on it because you're focused on all these things you have to do. Cell phones, televisions, radios, the internet. These are all distractions that we have to deal with on some level. They can also, unfortunately, keep us from tuning in to our intuitive wisdom. Especially if you really want something, even if that something isn't necessarily good for you. Your heart's desire may be blocking you from really paying attention to what your intuition is telling you. If you really believe that things should go a certain way, that you should finish everything else that you have to do today before you sit down and write, then you will subconsciously ignore your intuition's suggestions. Your intuition may be telling you something that goes against what you've been told by experts in the field. That can lead you to ignore your intuition or just to assume that it's incorrect. You may be used to approaching problems in a very logical and methodical manner. Intuition may seem like mumbo-jumbo to you. In that case, of course, you're not likely to pay it too much attention. You may sense that your intuition is guiding you in a direction that scares you. It may be urging you to do a book signing, or maybe to try public speaking. If these things make you nervous, you're likely to ignore what your intuition is trying to get you to do. You've muted the volume on your intuition because you don't like what it's saying. Here's your example. You've published several romance books and your publisher wants you to write another one. But you're sick of writing romance. You want to try a fantasy novel. Your intuition is telling you it's time to try something different. But your publisher wants this romance book, and that's a guaranteed contract and royalties and success because your other books have been successful. All these things are pulling you away from what your intuition is telling you, so you deny your intuition and force yourself to do what you know is probably not the best for you. Stressful life events can produce powerful emotions that push your intuition into the background. The intuitive voice is by nature very quiet and subtle. If you don't make a point to tune in very carefully, it's very easy to miss what it's telling you. It actually takes practice to get better at hearing what your intuitive voice is saying. So how can we better hear what the intuition is trying to tell us? I have a few suggestions for you. Even if it's only for the weekend, sometimes you just need to get away from all the busyness and the distractions to be able to better hear what your intuition is telling you. You know those thoughts just kind of spring into your head? You're going about your day doing other things and suddenly you think, you know, I'd like to write a story about that. If that voice comes back, or that statement or that thought comes back a few days later, or maybe the next night, you're thinking about it again. It keeps repeating. That's the intuition. If that happens to you, pay attention, especially if it happens 3, 4, or more times. Try to spend some time during a walk or during a period of meditation to just let go of all your desired outcomes, your attachments, what you think should happen, and then just listen and see what thoughts occur to you. You may notice intuitive feelings through sensations in the body, gut feelings, waves of nausea, butterflies of excitement. When these physical symptoms occur, take a moment to stop and say, what am I thinking about? What is the intuition trying to tell me? Tuning in more to what your body is trying to say along with your intuition can help you better hear these messages. Sit down and imagine your intuition as some sort of a physical form, whatever form you like. It can be a clone of you or something else entirely, like a deer or a cat. Feel free to ask your intuition questions. What do you think about such and such a project I'm working on? Should I do A or B? Is there something else I should be trying? Ask the question and then sit quietly and listen and see what this intuition has to tell you. Hit the highway, keep the car quiet inside. No audiobooks, no music. Keep it quiet, take a drive, and see what your intuition starts talking to you about. If you're someone who regularly journals, you're going to need to shift gears a little bit for this to work. What you want to do is free write for a while, because you have to dig into the realm of the intuition. Set the timer for 10 minutes and just free write. If you want to, you can ask the intuition a question like you did in the intuition chat, and then write what you think it would say. This kind of journaling can be really effective. It provides a record of those little intuitive nudges that you may get and not really realize are intuitive nudges till you go back a couple days later and reread what you wrote. If your intuition says something to you, and then later you find out that it actually was right, that can help you learn to trust your intuition. All these ways are ways for you to get in touch with your intuition, but there's still one more step you have to take, and that is to trust it enough to take action. When you hear the message, when you think you've got it, take just a small step in the direction that it's telling you to go. For example, let's take that author who has another romance book due and wants to try a fantasy book. She hears her intuition saying, you need to write this book. So she thinks, okay, I'll test this out. I'll sit down and I'll write the first chapter of this book. It's just a small action, just takes a little bit of time, but it will give her the information she needs. If she gets super excited about this book and wants to keep going, this was the right thing to do. If that doesn't really happen, then maybe it wasn't the right message and she needs to go back to writing her romance book. But you can take these small little actions in the direction your intuition is telling you to go, just to test it and see. We writers need that little voice. It's where our uniqueness, our originality comes from. So the better we can get at tuning into it, the more we'll be honoring that inner artist. As the great poet William Butler Yeats said, people who lean on logic and philosophy and rational exposition end by starving the best part of the mind.